Special is harvest time in America's farming regions. A wide variety of valuable agricultural products. Harvesting machines work tirelessly in the fields. We now see U.S. farmers gathering millions of tons of crops for the 2024 harvest. Let's first take a look at the garlic fields. Garlic has steady market demand and is easy to grow on a large scale. Rich, well-drained soil is all garlic plants really need. Garlic thrives in temperate climates, tolerating cold winters and needing warm summers. California and Texas are two of the top garlic-producing states. Some farmers harvest young garlic about a month before full maturity. This is a delicious seasonal dish. Garlic bulb formation depends on daylight duration, triggered by 12 hours of sunlight daily. Typically, garlic varieties need 9 to 10 months to fully develop and mature. However, some short-season varieties only need about 5 to 6 months until harvest. The garlic harvest season runs from late June to August. Farmers start harvesting when tops yellow and fall, but before they're fully dry. They leave bulbs in soil for weeks after tips brown, then dig them up mid-June. To harvest large quantities of garlic, farmers use mechanical harvesters. During harvest, a shaker removes dirt from bulbs, then stems are cut. A conveyor belt then moves the garlic bulbs to the harvester's container. When farmers let garlic fully dry in the field, it's easier to harvest and store. Once the garlic's roots and skin dry, farmers don't need to wash it. Instead, they'll trim the roots and brush off the dirt. Garlic is stored in a cool place. The ideal temperature is between 13 and 14 degrees Celsius. Over 30 U.S. states grow watermelons, with harvests starting east and moving west and north for months. Peak season varies slightly by region. In most U.S. regions, watermelons are best from May to September. Watermelon harvest time is 100 to 120 days, depending on region and variety. Florida, Georgia, and California are the top watermelon producers in the U.S. These three states harvest about 2.9 billion pounds of watermelon yearly. When the skin brightens, white spots on the watermelon turn yellow. Also, when tapped, a ripe watermelon makes a loud sound. The melons lighten in color and their leaves dry out. These are all signs that they're ready for harvest. Watermelons are cut manually using sharp tools. Cutters must be careful not to scratch or damage the fruit. To prevent scratches and rot, harvesting occurs only in dry weather. After picking, farmers flip them over to prevent sunburn. Most watermelon fields are harvested twice per season. On average, each plant yields 2 to 3 ripe fruits. One group cuts melons from vines, flipping them to show they're ready. Another group then collects the cut watermelons. They form a line to load melons onto trucks for packaging. At storage sites, farmers carefully load them onto trucks lined with soft fabric and padded with hay or straw. Maintain temperatures between 10 to 16 degrees Celsius to keep watermelons at peak quality and extend shelf life. Sugarcane is cultivated in Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. Florida produces about 50% of U.S. cane sugar, accounting for 20% of the country's total sugar consumption. Florida's sugar industry generates over $160 million annually, with a total economic impact exceeding $400 million. Mature sugarcane plants can grow up to 10 feet tall. Farmers use mechanical harvesters for sugarcane from September to January. Mechanical harvesting cuts average harvest time from 32 hours to just 12 hours. This boost in harvest efficiency leads to higher yields and profits for farms. Typically, farmers harvest sugarcane crops every 3 to 5 years. Southern Louisiana gets 68 inches of rain yearly, but cane harvest happens rain or shine. Sugarcane fields are often muddy, so harvesters use tracks instead of wheels to avoid getting stuck. Harvester moves through the cane fields. After cutting, rotating arms separate leaves from the cane stem. Cane stalks continue through cutters to be chopped into smaller pieces. Full harvesting carts transfer their load to trucks. Cane leaves are pushed back into the field as fertilizer. The cane harvester can cut up to 60 tons per hour. Scientific advances boost the scale and productivity of the sugarcane industry. Estimates show that Ecatri's NCUA's sugarcane production in 2024 will reach 690 million tons. Besides sugarcane, each U.S. cherry harvest yields 245,000 tons. The harvest season typically runs from May to July and must be done quickly. Cherries ready for harvest are round, dark red, and smooth. Farmers pick ripe fruit evenly, one branch at a time. They continue harvesting each tree until all cherry fields are done. Once bags are full, farmers empty cherries into crates, removing twigs and leaves. Cherry harvesting is simple but requires care and gentleness. Farms in Zezibrosua typically need 120 workers for the month-long harvest. Workers began picking at 5 a.m. and kept at it until the heat became unbearable. The cherries go into large crates, each holding about 770 pounds of fruit. In a single day, they'll fill up 200 barrels. Water cooling is crucial to maintain the cherries' high quality. Processing plants cool cherries with hydrogen-infused cold water to lower their core temperature. If not kept cool, cherries quickly lose firmness and overall quality. The U.S. is the top global blueberry producer, averaging 700 million pounds yearly. Blueberries are grown across the entire United States. Over 26 states commercially produce blueberries. Blueberries can be planted in spring or late autumn. In warmer areas, blueberry season can run from March to May. Blueberry farming in the U.S. is expanding. commercial growers use mechanical harvesters for the fresh market. Farmers must plan carefully, especially regarding harvester setup. Blueberry plants have narrow canopies, reducing harvest losses. Farmers space rows at least 9 to 10 feet apart. Each row needs 30 feet of clearance for harvester turning. A Georgia farm pioneers Dutch blueberry harvesting tech. The most common type is the between-row harvester. It's popular, harvesting 98% of ripe berries efficiently. Meanwhile, handle the blueberries gently to prevent damage. It's also low labor, which helps minimize harvesting costs. In Japan's lush fields and forests, farmers grow valuable crops. Their ingenuity boosts yields and raises the value of Japanese produce globally. Let's see how Japanese farmers harvest tons of agricultural goods. Udo, an edible wild plant, is native to various parts of Japan. It's been used as a spring dish since ancient times. Udo is classified into two types, Yamato and Nankodo. Both grow from early spring until around April. However, their appearances are quite different. Yamato is green and wild-looking, while Nankodo is white. These visual differences relate to their growing environments. Yamato has thick, fleshy stems, growing vertically 60 to 90 centimeters long with a 2 to 5 centimeters diameter. Despite its potential for large growth, Yamato is harvested seasonally for its young, tender stems. Nankodo, on the other hand, is cultivated using a light-shielding farming method. After 30 to 40 days, Udo is harvested when it reaches about 70 centimeters in height. The peak harvest season typically runs from December to April. With Udo plants only about 1 meter tall, underground harvesting is challenging. The constant squatting required leads to leg and back issues for many farmers. Farmers carefully cut and wrap the Udo to remove it from the tunnel. Another person waits outside to lift the wooden box containing the harvest. Time is crucial after harvest, as Udo quickly turns green when exposed to sunlight. So farmers gradually move to indoor cultivation and harvesting to protect Udo from weather effects. Tachikawa's booming Udo industry became hugely popular, yielding about 450 tons annually. Udo's flavor changes perceptions of wild vegetables. While wild veggies often worry people with bitterness, Udo can be enjoyed raw. Biting fresh Udo produces a crisp sound, with mild sweetness spreading in your mouth. Its fresh, refreshing taste lingers afterward. That's why this plant became Tachikawa's specialty. Now let's visit Lake Kasumigara, Japan's second largest lake. It boasts Japan's largest lotus root production. The lakeside land is fertile with ample water, helping lotus roots thrive. Lotus roots from Lake Kasumigara are the most prized. They're harvested July to March. Yearly, all lotus stems and leaves above water are cut to stop further growth. Lotus roots grow underground, dormant in mud, storing starch from summer to winter. Roots from the same pond area can taste different based on harvest time. Summer's young lotus roots taste as sweet as pears. Farmers harvest until May, when roots become flexible as sugar turns to starch. Mud made travel tough, and finding lotus roots wasn't easy. Farmers say patience and skill are needed to extract the whole root. As roots may grow oddly, farmers must be gentle to avoid breaks and get good prices. On average, each kilo of lotus root costs about $2.80. The lotus fields are about 50 to 60 centimeters deep. Farmers kneel chest deep in water, digging in mud for lotus roots. They use water jets to find roots, washing them multiple times. This method also prevents damage to the lotus root's skin. Carefully handled roots are tasty and visually appealing, adding value. At the processing unit, lotus roots are cut and canned individually. Remkon Sankyo Dai harvests and ships roots 2 days after orders. Japan is also known for having the most delicious mushrooms. Ever seen millions of shiitake mushrooms growing in the forest? Farmers select oak trees about 10 to 20 centimeters wide, creating ideal conditions for shiitake mushrooms to grow. The oak logs are carefully stacked and moved to the shiitake cultivation area. Next, farmers drill small holes in the wood to insert shiitake mushroom spawn. These holes are spaced 10 to 15 centimeters apart, depending on the size of the shiitake mushrooms. The spawn is inserted using a special tool to ensure proper placement and depth. Each log will produce shiitakes 2 to 4 times, depending on hole size and weather. After transplanting shiitake spores into logs, they're placed strategically to ensure optimal mushroom growth and harvest. Japanese farmers traditionally harvest each tree by hand in the forest. Harvesting is done manually, with farmers carefully plucking shiitake mushrooms from the logs. They use plastic baskets to collect the harvested mushrooms. Full baskets are taken to storage areas where mushrooms are preserved to prevent damage. Slow growth and natural habitat give shiitakes dense texture, rich flavor, and high nutritional value. Wild shiitake cultivation provides economic opportunities for local Japanese communities. In southern Japan, shiitakes are the top mushroom crop, making up 50 to 55% of total production at high prices. Only a limited amount of wild shiitake mushrooms can be harvested annually. This scarcity makes fresh shiitakes pricey, with dried exports even more expensive. At the drying facility, shiitakes are re-inspected to remove any unsuitable mushrooms. Excess water is then removed from the mushrooms. Remove excess soil and spread it evenly. Drying occurs under strict control with proper temperature and time to remove moisture from the mushrooms. This process preserves flavor and nutrients. Besides delicious shiitake, Japan is also known for lingzi mushrooms. This mushroom has been used in traditional medicine for thousands of years. After felling, the log rests for 2 weeks before drilling. One log can support the growth of 15 Ganoderma mushrooms. The logs are inoculated with Ganoderma and buried underground. Farmers spend a long time cultivating and growing Ganoderma mushrooms. It takes 9 months before Ganoderma mushrooms become visible. After a few months, fully grown lingzi can be harvested and processed in various ways. Want to know what makes it unique among millions of forest mushrooms? The magic of Ganoderma lingzi lies in compounds locked within its cell walls. Compared to Shiitake, Ganoderma mushrooms grow at a much slower rate. Farmers must wait 75 to 90 days before they can harvest. Interestingly, yield is proportional to each inch of tree diameter. For instance, a 15 centimeters diameter trunk will produce reishi in about 6 years. This means larger diameter logs take longer until the first harvest. As lingzi mushrooms mature, they turn reddish-brown and shed spores. Mature Ganoderma mushrooms are between 2.5 to 10 centimeters thick. Farmers prefer to harvest Ganoderma mushrooms with white undersides. If harvested late and brown, they've already started decomposing. Harvesting is done by gripping the root and pulling with the other hand. After washing, Ganoderma mushrooms are dried below 50 degrees Celsius.